Que expectativa. Alô, alô. Como estamos? Oi, Samantha. Oi, Adri. Hi, Heart. Alô, pessoal. Deixa eu escrever aqui uma coisa. Sim. Só um minuto, deixa eu só fixar outra coisa. Maravilha. Não, não pode. Não sei, pessoal. Essa música, Believe, de Mumford and Sons, já vai estar na nossa lista, tá bem? Vamos convidá-la para ela já chegar. Onde que ela anda? Ela já chega por aqui, tá? Oh, olha ela. Kathi Ross-Nash. She's in the area. She's here. Yeah, she's here. Laura's talking to you. Oh my God. Pessoal, manda e dispara essa live aí para mais gente vir aqui nos acompanhar. Sei que é um horário inconveniente, mas manda aí. Hello. Mandem hello para ela. Meu model. Uhul. Fomos. Vamos lá. Que hoje temos uma estrela do dia, uma star of the day. Pessoal, é o seguinte. Look, Kathi, I will talk that thing that we combined, okay? Em português, okay? Very quick. Pessoal, a gente combinou de fazer tudo em inglês para ser bem fluido e para a gente aproveitar o tempo. Eu vou me virar para fazer todas as traduções depois em vídeo, e eu faço a tradução, assisto de novo e mando por vídeos, eu dou meu jeito, faço um vídeo com subtítulo, mas a gente vai aproveitar e vai fazer essa experiência, tá? Se em algum momento a gente precisar fazer em português, eu estou aqui, tá bom? Mas não saiam, fiquem para dar essa energia para ela de volta, tá? O tempo dela é, como de todos nós, muito valioso, né? Vamos valorizar que ela tá aqui, tá bem? Dispara essa live aí para mais gente poder assistir lá ao vivo, tá bom? Faz isso aí nesse aviãozinho de papel, por favor, tá bom? Let's talk with Kathi Ross-Nash. Let me invite you. Hold on. We can do this. Yes. Hello.
Hello.
You're here.
I did it. I was so nervous.
I told you you're going to make
so...
it. So you have a tea.
I do. I have my tea. It could be
Great.
bubbles.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you so much for being here. People are really excited and happy. They know already that we are going to be trying in English only. And I'm here. I'm available. I'm here to do all that I know, all that I can, so then they can understand later. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being red. This is so you.
Well, of course.
Okay. Look, we had the opportunity to. Can you hear me well,
I can hear you perfectly. Yes.
Marvin? We had the opportunity to talk a little bit about the
Yes.
purpose of the tea with Joe, right?
Yes.
That in Brazil, in Portuguese, we call chá com Joe. Chá is tea, so
Jack.
chá. Okay. And the tea with Joe is only to inspire. It's only with this purpose to inspire, to share inspiration, motivation. I'm here to listen to you. I'm here and I can be here like forever. Only to know what moves you, what motivates you. So I'm really glad that Lara Pacheco was the one that insists so then you could be here. So I'm really glad to her. And thank you for her and thank you. So I'm
My
here to
pleasure.
listen. Yeah. You can start whatever you want to.
Well, you brought up that I was wearing red, so I thought maybe I would talk a little bit about why I call my method the red thread method and why I chose red and what the red thread means to me. Um, to give a little background on that. For me, red was first inspired by reading Joe's Return to Life,
Okay.
because in the Return to Life, he talks about blood being the internal shower and that circulation is what heals and what keeps us alive and moves through us. But then to me, there are so many other different cultural connections to the red thread. And one of the most important to me was it's the thread that binds all of us. All of us who touch each other's lives, which we do in Pilates. In
Yeah.
Pilates, you don't just teach exercise, you touch somebody's soul when you
Yeah.
share this work. And so to me, every person who has passed through my life in this work is part of my red thread, the thread that connects us in life. And also in many cultures, the red thread represents destiny. And I look at my path on how I ended up, where I am in Pilates and doing what I'm doing. And it is surely destiny because it was never anything I thought of doing or intended to do, but it was just where the life and path led me to be where I truly feel I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. That's amazing. I didn't know all about, I didn't know all the meanings. I knew few maybe, but it's really amazing. And the blood, the Joseph Pilates blood, and all of these connections, you know that you really do it so marvelous. Like you really know how to touch people's souls and bodies and energy. It's like you are a red thread, inside of all of
Oh,
this.
thank you. I think that when we are in our truth, that when we're really coming from a place of love and truth and with a desire to improve the quality of somebody's life, I think that it's transparent. I don't think that it's something that it can be faked or emulated. And, that was one of the most amazing things with, my teacher, Romana, my main teacher, when
Yes.
you talk to anybody who trained with her, they always felt this special bond to her, this special connection to her. And that was because she genuinely loved each and every one of her students, you know, and
Yes.
she felt like, because we would have many conversations, she felt like I do, that I am grateful and honored that anyone wants to share part of their journey in this method with me. I
Yes.
mean, there's not a more amazing honor than when someone comes to you to learn. It's a
Yes.
huge responsibility, and it is one of the most incredible honors.
Yes. It is. Talk a little bit about how did you get in this Pilates world? Maybe some
Sure.
people they don't know, right? Maybe.
Well,
How did you
so
get there?
you know, it was really funny. I, I was very young when I was first introduced to it by a teacher called Raoul Jalbert. And he was a former professional dancer, and he from Belarus, and he used to write in the back of Dance Magazine exercises for dancers, and they were basically Pilates exercises. As a matter of fact, Lolita teaches this one little ab series that I teach as well, and this
Yeah.
came from, she calls them Jalabert abs, and I call them that. And we were talking one time, and we're like, oh my God, that's where I got that from. I'm like, me too. So I was like 13, 14 when
Wow.
I was first introduced to him and training with him at his studio. And I was his model at Lincoln Center many times as a young dancer for kinesiology in dance, which he was the forefather of kinesiology in dance. So I was introduced to the thought process at a very young age. With that said, when I was brought to Romana, when I was with Ballet Hispanico, which I joined when I was like 18, 19 years old, I hated it. I absolutely, positively hated it.
Wow.
If Tina didn't threaten with me that she was going to fire me, I would have never continued.
Wow.
But, you know, I was hypermobile very hypermobile, and I always struggled with my weight. So and I had Russian training. I was trained by Fokin for dance. So
Yeah.
I like learned to force everything. You know, my thighs were thick, my body was thick, and she made me do Pilates to lean out my body.
Yeah.
And so when Romana's studio had closed on 56 for that period, I went down to Kathy Grant to study, and then eventually went back to Romana.
Yes. You
So,
are
yes.
sorry, you can keep going.
No, I was just going to say, it wasn't until I was dancing with the company for a while, and I used to do my mat class before every performance, that I made the connection that when I did my mat, I was on my leg, and when I didn't do my mat, I was not on my leg. And that's when I started going, maybe there is something to this method.
Yeah.
Never thought
You
I'd teach it. Mm-mm.
know
No.
how this part started. The
Um,
click, when it was the click to maybe I can teach this.
so before I got pregnant for my eldest son, my eldest child, I knew I wanted to be a mother, and my husband and I had discussed that I was going to, begin this. And so I started teaching at my old dance studio, and they knew I knew Pilates, so they asked if I would teach a mat class there. And so let me see, my son is going to be, he's 27 and a half. So this was about 30 years ago. And I said, okay, I'll teach a mat class. So I started teaching, Joe's mat.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. and I had some equipment at my home in my basement of my house. You know, I had a curtain. The laundry was on one side. The Pilates equipment was on the other side. The children's playpen was on the other side. Right next to the water heater, my Cadillac was. And I had a student that was a dance student of mine, and she had been on a trampoline, on a trapeze, and she had fallen and hurt her back. And the doctors told her that she wouldn't dance again. And now I had no formal training to be a teacher. You know, I had only been doing it for myself, for my own body, for many, many years. You know, watched other people do their lessons. I really didn't pay much attention, honestly. I would just go take care of myself. I was a dancer. I only cared about myself. So I said to the students, true. People were like, do you remember this? Do you remember that? I'm like, no. Do you remember when you go to the gym? Do you remember who was working out when you go to the gym? Of course I don't remember. I came in, I did my workout, I did what I had to do, and I got out of there. So, you know, Pilates wasn't famous at that time. It was just a workout.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was like your Zumba class at the time. So, I mean, that's, you know, in my head, that's all it was. So, this dancer was devastated, and I loved her. Like, she was a very special young girl. And I said, listen, come to my house. I'll teach you what I know. I can't promise you anything, but I had been dropped when I was dancing, and I broke a facet off my back. And if it wasn't for Pilates, I don't think that I would have ever been able to continue dancing or, you know, doing what I did. So I started teaching her what I knew on one of those little, you know, performers at the time. And I had I think it was current concept at the time, wall unit, and combo chair and ladder barrel, and, you know, so I started teaching her what I knew. And within 5 months, she was back dancing.
Wow.
And she ended up becoming a lawyer as well, but she got certified in Pilates when she was at college. And it kind of just went by word of mouth that they were at the studio. They're like, well, you know, Jen broke her back, you know, herniated her discs in her back, and Kathi taught her, and she taught her Pilates, and Pilates was just really becoming more known outside of, you know, the intimate people that knew it. And so people started seeking me out, and then the lawsuit started happening, and I said, ooh, I don't want to get in trouble. I'm a role player. I play by the rules.
Yes.
So I went back to Romana and got certified.
Yes.
And it was actually Bob Legans who inspired me to do that.
Oh, so amazing. I miss him.
I know. So very much.
Yeah. Yeah, he did a great job, and he was so, how can I say in English? So good person. No?
He was a good person, and he loved this work, and he loved what it could do for you, and he inspired thousands. I mean, he truly made Pilates, you know, was one of the people that brought Pilates forward to where it is today. It wouldn't be, he was such a clear teacher trainer. I mean, he was just so clear.
Yeah. It's true. Well, so then you went to Romana, and then you made.
I go into Romana and I go, what are these lists? What are these lists? Because, you know, there were no orders, there were no lists. It was like you did your workout, and I'm like, what's the basic order? She's like, I don't know. I go, why is this intermediate? What does that mean? Why is this advanced? Because my very first lesson with her, I did long spinal massage on the Cadillac. So, you know, I had no idea what these lists were. And she's like, I don't know. I said, I have to memorize these? And she's like, yeah.
how long it took like for you to
No,
memorize.
it wasn't. I mean, because I knew the exercises. It wasn't
Yeah.
like a lot of people coming into being certified. They didn't know the exercises. But oh my God, poor Tone and Michael, they had to teach me, they had to make sure I knew the orders.
Yeah.
They had to suffer through going, this is the order, this is the order of this is the order of that. They were so patient. They were so good. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And but you had a great opportunity to work out to learn with Romana. I
Yes.
didn't, right? And then you also had the opportunity to work with Kathy Grant, as you
Hmm.
said, with the J Grimes, right?
Hmm.
So to get a little bit of one, a little bit of the other one, and make your own. What do you get of all of this, and how do
So
you?
what I got, which unfortunately is missing for today's teachers.
Mhm.
So I I would go back into the city. If Romana was there, I was there once a week. And I had two little babies, but it was so worth it to me. I would be
Yeah.
there as soon as, she would start in the studio around 7 and she'd teach until 1 and we'd go out afterwards. But I got to watch her not teach teachers, but teach her clients
Yeah.
week in and week out. And I got to watch her, if it wasn't working here, take them over to here. And I would think about, well, why is she going over here as opposed to over here? For
Yeah.
instance, if she was doing footwork with somebody, yeah,
Mhm.
and they're on the reformer and their pelvis is not stable, she would bring them over to the high chair and do the pumping on there. Shorter range of motion, much more security because you have the bars, your pelvis is now stable, your back is now stable, less chance for things to move. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started questioning, okay, well, why did she grab the barrel? Okay. She
Mhm.
was dealing with what she saw in the work. And this is something that was missing. And so when I taught, and the thing is that many teachers of teachers now, they did not have that, unfortunately, that opportunity.
Mhm.
And then I had the opportunity because I had a full clientele for many years of not teachers, of real students, that
Yeah.
I saw how I moved this person from one exercise to the next, why
Yes.
I chose something different for one student than I chose for another student. And it's the true application of the method. And so I realized that for these younger teachers coming in, they don't have that opportunity. It's not that they don't want to know,
Yeah.
they don't have that opportunity because the world is not set up like that now.
Yeah.
Their training is not set up like that now. And so I started to look at, because we're supposed to always keep, as Pilates instructors, we're supposed to keep records of all of our lessons. And so I
Yes.
had apprentices watching me teach that were in Romana's training program, and I would have them keep all the records so I didn't have to. And I started looking back at how I actually taught, because you do it instinctively, yeah.
Yes.
And then I started telling them, every time you have a question about why I chose something, ask me why, because I need to be culpable for what
Mhm.
I choose, and I need to be able to communicate to my students why I chose that. Otherwise, the method of what I learned will die with me.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, you watch Jay teach, you watch Edwina teach, you watch Romana teach, you watched Shari teach, you watched Kathy teach. They would flow seamlessly from one thing to the next, know exactly, oh, I need this for this person. Oh, I need that for that person. And that was lost.
Yes.
You know, Lolita, same thing. She's teaching somebody, she's going from this to that to this. There's no thought about what she's choosing.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the missing link for the new generation.
Yes.
And that was my inspiration to start looking at and clarifying what I was choosing, why I was choosing it, when I saw what I saw to move somebody ahead, and to make it as clear and definitive as possible, which is then I started writing the books because I thought video is great. Video is wonderful. But when you write a book, one, it's easy to find what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And two, I choose the focal point. That's why I take all the pictures.
Yes.
Because I want to choose what you see. A lot of times when we see video, we get caught up in a pretty movement.
Mm-hmm.
We get caught up in seeing what we want to see, not necessarily what we should be looking at. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yes. And in your work, it's amazing because you see the connections, you can feel the connections. It's amazing because you know the repertoire, you know the sequence, you know the exercises, you know the list.
The list, I know the list.
But then when you go to the client, when you see the body in front of you, and you have the connections of how can I do this leather barrel, or how can I do this Cadillac final exercises in these other equipment, right? It's so great. How can we do that? And you have all these connections, and it's great because you share. It's not only with you. You share.
No,
Share
it's
a
not.
lot.
It's not mine to have. It's not mine to have. When I was with Ramana years ago, the first time I ventured out of teaching for the company, for Ramana's Pilates, I had been invited to go to Inner Idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at her and I was like, should I do this? And she goes, Kathi, your job is to show people what Pilates is. And to me, that was a very heavy responsibility.
Yes.
But when your mentor says something like that to you, you have to. And I understood that and I'm sure she said this to many of her students, not just me, but when your mentor says something like that to you, you know that she doesn't want her work to die.
Yeah.
Because her work was her connection to Joe. You know, just like Blossom, you know, carries on Kathy's work. You know, it's her deep responsibility to what
Yes.
the woman has given her, you know, and what the method has given each of us. And we're very, very grateful. And it never stops. I mean, I was teaching a workshop this weekend, and I was doing it's all about the bar.
Uh-huh.
And so I was, you know, breaking down a lot of foundational exercises. And what I do is I give them a big list in the beginning. And they're like, oh, we're going to learn all these? I go, no. Just watch. So I teach the foundations. And during the foundation, I am watching the group. You know, it's 15 people. And I always have my workshops where you are not sitting and taking notes. Mm-hmm. I only do 15 people. So you're either watching, mm-hmm. teaching, or doing. And everybody watches, everybody teaches, and everybody does all the exercises. And the second day, I knew what advanced exercise I was working towards with this group by their needs, by their abilities. And so I then gear the mat class towards what they're going to learn. And so I get done and we get to the very last exercise and I go, you see this exercise, you see this exercise. And I went through all the exercises and I said, listen, when you create a workout, when you're with your students, you have to know where you're going.
Yes.
You have to know what they need to get there.
Yeah.
And you have to clearly teach them. And if they're not ready to move on, they don't move on. And if I've gone to this exercise, I have to have a reason I've gone to the exercise. And by the end, they all were doing this really tough advanced piece exercise really beautifully.
Yes. Yes, we have you have this thing in Brazil. We had we had for so many years we didn't know about the classical original
Of course.
Pilates. You know that, right?
Yeah.
The classical was so closed, and then a few years ago we started to know about it, and it's like a oh my God, it's a new thing, and it's not a new thing. It's the oldest thing, right?
But but the other Pilates, you know, like people talk this Pilates, that Pilates, you know. To me, if you find something that makes you happy and that
Yeah.
makes you want to move
Yeah.
and that makes sense to you, it's great,
Yeah.
you know, because all of the Pilates out there, most of it, has
Yes.
roots back
Mm-hmm.
to the
Exactly.
original work.
Yeah.
And, you know, when people come to me, they're going to get my vantage point of the work.
Mm-hmm.
It's only my vantage point.
Yes.
It's not the only vantage point.
This is so important. I used to say that a lot. I have all my respect for all kind of good Pilates, right? Good work
Yes, good work.
with roots.
Yes.
But I'm talking about some people they didn't know about sequences, about
Right.
right, about Joseph, about the story,
Right. Yes.
and
Yes, the history.
they are knowing now, and it's so amazing because we have this connection, and people are getting closer to Pilates
Yes.
teachers that they
Yes.
were like close to the elders, and then we can get really more connection close, right?
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
mean, the beautiful thing is that people are getting closer to the connection and they can make their own choices
exactly,
and decisions. And I
exactly.
used to be very, very frustrated because for many years we weren't allowed out for, but it was not Romana. I mean, Romana she wanted the work out there.
Yeah,
She wanted to share it. She wanted Joe's vision of a Pilates studio on every street corner and Pilates in the schools, because it is it's a method,
yes,
and it's the single best method of fitness that I know.
yes.
You know, but it is exercise. It's not physical therapy, which is something that, you know,
I know.
that's a little muddy.
Yes. About physical therapy, tell me one thing. One day we watched in Brazil a very, very good documentary movie that Glaucia made with the Pilates, the tribute.
Yes.
And you were there, right? And the
Yes.
parts that you are moves us because you talk about a disease, you talk about something that, and then the Pilates, changed you.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to talk about this, but
Oh,
this is
no,
really an
absolutely.
inspiration.
So I have ankylosing spondylitis
Uh-huh.
and spondyloarthritis,
Yeah.
which is, if people don't know, it is a fusing of the spine.
Uh-huh.
And my daughter has the juvenile version, and they think that I've probably had it since I was 20.
Mm-hmm.
If it was not for this work, I would be in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I would be crippled. I look at other people that have had this disease as long as I have, and they're all rounded over and they can't move. And, you know, even when I'm in a horrible flare-up, I will take myself down to my studio, get on my reformer. I might cry through the first like 15, 20 minutes of pain getting moving. But by the end of my hour, I am moving and breathing and able to live.
Yes. So
And
it's hard. It's like I got emotion with when I hear that, because you have to push yourself, because it's easy to be in a comfort zone that is not very comfortable.
right.
If you were feeling pain, you're not comfortable, right?
No,
But
right.
to get out of this point and move, it's it's effort, right? You have
It's a
to be
lot
very,
of
it's a lot of
you have
effort.
it's I don't travel as one reason. I built the ranch in Florida because I wanted to create a teaching annex,
Uh-huh.
and I have a minimum of 5 of everything that Pilates Designs made for me. They recreated my old equipment. It's beautiful. And one reason I did that is because it's very, very difficult for me to travel. Because when you stay still for a long time, it's not good for the illness. And
Yeah.
so long flights are very difficult. But also, I always have a fear that I'm going to travel and end up with a flare up. And like I said, I feel a huge responsibility when people come to train with me. And if I can't give every ounce of me because I'm struggling with pain at that time, I feel very guilty for my students. And I feel very sad for them because I'm not able to give my everything, you know. Um, but I'm 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 very lucky that I have Pilates because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what my life would be if I didn't have it.
I imagine. Look, have a have a tea. You're
Yeah.
amazing. Have your tea.
But it's this work. I mean, it is this work. People go, why do you work so hard? Why are you so passionate? Why are you? I go, you know why? Because I know what it's like to be in pain. And I know what it's like to suffer. And if I can help anyone, like this work has helped me, I would be a horrible person not to share it.
Yes. And you're a lion, right? I told you that. You were a lion. That's why you're such an inspiration. Because sometimes we have this pain. We have a neck pain. We have a back pain. We have a emotional pain.
Yes,
And we have no idea how much pain that person that is inspiring us it's passing through, right? So
my
yours,
husband one night looked at me and he said, "What can I do for you?" And I said, "Get me a gun." Because I'm like, I can't do this. But the next day I got up,
yeah,
went to my studio, took my breath, went through it, and I was good that night.
yeah. It's a it's amazing because I feel not sorry because uh, I think everyone has something for a reason
Yes,
in life, right? And
yes,
I'm pretty sure if maybe, if you didn't have that in your life, maybe you're not going to be so deep and so in love with this method. And
I
you
agree.
and you pass this through us. You pass to
I
us.
agree.
We can
I
feel
agree.
it.
My pain, it is definitely everything that we go through is there for a reason, and that's the red thread.
Exactly.
It was my fate. It is my fate. If years ago, my grandfather, he was 90 years old, And we bought this new house, and he tripped and fell down the stairs. And when he fell down the stairs, he couldn't move. And he was literally in a chair for weeks. And I started doing baby Pilates with him every day. I was pregnant for my son at the time, every day. And, you know, teaching him. And he lived to be 97. And he was more mobile when he was done than he ever was due to and he always did his exercises after that.
Wow. So,
but had that not happened, I would not have had to think,
yes.
How do I break this down to the barest minimum? Where is my motivation was my love for him. But what I learned through my love for him enabled me to help clients that came in. That I had this one client, amazing woman. I actually heard from her. She's in Tel Aviv. I heard from her recently. She had been in a car accident and shattered her leg and was on crutches, and then had a surgery because of something from the accident, and her intestines fell asleep and they had to take it out. So they literally ripped her stomach open, and she hobbled in, and I'm looking going, oh my God, what am I going to do with this woman? I go, wait, she can breathe.
Yes.
So we started there, you know.
Good point.
But it was like, okay, but all the things that I had done with my grandfather, I could implement for her.
Yes. And when you feel something like pain, or you are more sensitive to the others, right?
Yes.
You're open to understand the other person that is in front of you. Yes. So we are so glad that in your routine, with pain or no pain or whatever, you do that much, because we see you in Pilatesology, and, you know, magazines, and your workshops, you know, courses, and your full program. So you are everywhere. And you have family, you have life, right?
And I have my dogs.
Yes, you only have your dogs. So how can you manage everything? How can you do that?
Oh my gosh, when it's easy, because I love everything I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love my family. I love teaching. I love my dogs. You know, it's like I was teaching a workshop this past week, and my son is coming in and my daughter's coming in, and we're getting ready for our holiday Thanksgiving. And I got up like really early, and I made the sauce with the meatballs, because, you know, I have to get the ziti ready, and then I made the cornbread the next day. And so, you know, it's just when love is behind it and passion is behind it, the energy is endless, you know?
Yeah, I'm just sure of that. Yeah, that's true. Someone is smelling
and
your
seriously, how could you, I mean, think about what we do, all of us, right?
Yeah.
At the end of a session, you look into your student's eyes and you get back more than you've given.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Yeah.
I can give everything, but at the end of the day, I receive more.
Yeah. The universe and the own person, it's giving her, you know, its energy back, right? It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you see your student get up and they you know, they couldn't do an exercise, or they couldn't move a certain way, or they were not in a good place, and then they leave and they feel good about themselves, and their life is better. You've improved their quality of life by safe, effective exercise. And what better gift do you get?
Yes.
The fact that
It's true. And sometimes
do this.
Yes. And sometimes people get so tired because they don't understand that. And they work like they work 8 hours straight giving classes, right? And then they get so tired, so stressed out, so because they don't feel the energy back. They give, but they are not open to have the energy back. And it's fluid if you permit, if
Yes.
you have the
Yes.
connection, and if you
Yes.
have the love, right?
I
Because
think that every teacher at the end of their class should really just take a moment and feel the energy of the room. Or
yeah,
if they're teaching a group class, or if you're teaching a private lesson,
yeah,
take a moment and
yeah,
look into the eyes of your student
yeah,
and feel them. I mean, this is what it's about. Yes, great exercise, the best exercise, the best method. But why are we doing this? We know it's not to make money.
no.
Not to make money.
We just
It
work
has
a
to
lot.
be exactly.
So much passion.
Exactly. It has to be more. It has to be. This is about so much more.
Yeah, I lost you. Oh,
And I think in
I'm
this
here.
method, am I back?
I'm
Oh,
here.
there you go.
But
Can you see me? I can see you.
yeah, now yes, yes.
Hello?
Okay,
Yep, we're good.
we are back.
But I think now more than ever, it is an important time for all of us to connect with this positive energy. I mean,
Yes.
I feel that if everybody did Pilates and they align their spine. People like, what's Pilates? I go, well, it is a genetically correct exercise method that balances the body and aligns your spine, right? If we all
Yeah.
had our spines in alignment and our bodies balanced, I think it'd be a much happier world.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. Joseph used to say that if a man, correct me, if a man in a United Nations can do my first 5 exercises, we could have like a world peace or something
World
like
peace,
that, right?
world,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
That's true because if
It is.
everybody goes to the mat and try to do something that is it's watching yourself, it's a challenge for yourself. You stop looking to the other,
Yes.
right? Yeah, that's
And
it.
that's exactly it. And when you really are doing the method, you have to be, the method tells you your truth.
Yeah.
I've had clients that they would start with me and then like after a month or so, they disappear. And I go, oh my God, I must be a horrible teacher. They disappear. And they come back a year later and they're like, as I started working, they ended up getting divorced. This happened many times
Wow.
because as they started doing the method, your body holds your truth.
Yes.
The mind and body are not separate. They are the same. And they would go through they were going through such physical changes
Yeah.
that emotionally they changed. And they changed their life and came back, and the aches and pains were gone that they had, but
Yeah.
they said that the work made them see themselves.
Exactly. And when you see yourself, when you can really see yourself inside deep, you stop wasting time trying to see everybody else, right?
Yes,
And the wars, they start there when you want to waste your time watching somebody. That's it.
exactly, exactly.
Egos.
Whenever I teach, I always say to people, Pilates is not a performance.
Uh-huh.
Pilates is not a performance. Pilates is a workout. When you go to the mat, this is your time, your workout.
Yeah.
Don't look at what this person's doing. Don't look at what that person's doing. Doesn't matter. The only bad Pilates teacher is a teacher that does an exercise that they should not be doing.
Yes.
You don't judge. We all have starting points. We all have building. We all have fall down. We all get up. You know, it's not a performance. This is your time, your workout. There are exercises that I may never do. There are exercises you may never do. It's because well, the beautiful thing is that Joe created all this apparatus that if we can't do it on the mat, we could do it on the reformer. If we can't do it there, we could do it on the high chair, the ladder barrel, the Cadillac. You can do it where it suits your body at your level. So don't compare yourself. Don't look at anybody's self. The only way you are going to improve yourself is to just stay focused there on yourself.
Yeah.
Which is why when I went to the studios in New York City, they go, "Did you see such and such?" I go, "No, I was busy working on me."
Yes, exactly. I was in my workout.
I didn't even see anybody. There were other people. There were people there.
Yes, something like that. That's why I believe, and I don't know if I'm crazy, but I believe that Pilates really could change a little bit the world, because people change, you know, the sense of community and right.
Well, think about
Respect.
how do you feel when you walk out of the studio?
Yeah.
You feel good.
Yes.
You might go in all bent over, all not feeling good, feeling grouchy, right? You get out of the studio, your head is up,
Yes.
you're smiling, you then see the person, your eyes are open, you see the person on the street, you make contact, you know? If everybody did Pilates, everybody be getting out off of their reformers, off of their mat, walking into the street and present.
Yes, exactly.
I agree.
Especially if the equipment it's so fancy like yours. How did you brought that? Like,
oh
this
my
is
God.
so different. People in Brazil, they are so crazy about it. Not just in Brazil.
It's my jungle. It's my jungle. So it started with the Red Thread Ranch, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted everything in red, but I wanted little leopard because you have to have a little,
Yes.
So I did my leopard accent. And Sylvia from Pilates Designs was like, "Absolutely, I will get you leopard." Well, then she said to me, "Would you like to try snow leopard?" And I said, "Listen, I want to keep the ranch as it is, but in New Jersey, my studio there, bring me the snow leopard."
Wow.
So she brings it. And then I was like, "What other animals do you have?" So now I have zebra. I have my white python. Oh my God, my white python reformer.
It's amazing.
It's perfect. I'm buying one for down here. I'm getting one for the ranch. Yeah. Absolutely, because I just need to. I mean, it's so beautiful. I have a black python wounded chair. I have snow leopard, zebra. I'm getting giraffe. I have all these crazy animals, and it's so great because every student comes in and they have their favorite.
Yes.
This one wants the snow leopard all the time. This one wants the dark leopard. This one wants. I want.
They don't fight, right? They don't fight. They don't fight.
No, they all know who gets what first. They do run to it. They do get in their path, but they're so funny. And you know what else it does? It makes the studio fun.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
It makes the studio fun. You come in, it's not like
black, brown. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I got the zebra. I got the zebra today. They know they can't touch my white python. The white python's just mine.
And you talk about them as like persons, you know, that you were so jealous, that you're so in love. It's so amazing.
I am, but I feel that way. You should see oh my God, when the white python, I have names, that's Snow White. The white python is Snow White. Yeah. And the spine corrector is Lily, for Lily White.
Lily? Okay.
So yeah, Lily. So when I was like, oh my God. And she put red straps on them, and I have white painted handles and white straps on Snow White, my reformer.
Amazing.
Amazing. And
Amazing.
snow leopard, everybody loves snow leopard. She's really, really, really smooth, you know? Yeah.
And when you talk about these equipment specifically, your
Oh,
eyes write differently.
it's true. I get so excited. I get so excited.
Yeah. Oh my God. Kathy, I have to tell you something. I could stay here 2 hours more, but for our time in Instagram,
Thank
Instagram
you.
allows us only for 60 minutes sharper.
Fantastic.
And
Thank you so much. Thank everybody that has listened or is going to listen. Thank you guys for sharing Pilates with me. Thank you for keeping what I love alive, because it's through all of the teachers and people like you, that are doing things and connecting the world, that we will keep this work alive. And you know what? One day we will change the world.
I'm sure about that. You are changing, so we are the ones that are glad because you are keeping this alive. You're keeping the emotions alive. You're keeping this energy alive. You're keeping this lion inside alive. So thank you so very much for every day that you
Thank you.
wake up and you were strong,
Thank you.
not
Thank
for
you.
us, but for yourself, and
Thank you.
makes us believe in this, you know. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for making us believe in this method.
That's us. Thank you. Be well.
Yes.
Have great holidays. Thank
You
you.
too, you too. We are gonna be talking. We keep in touch. Thank you so
Absolutely. Ciao,
much,
ciao.
people.
Ciao,
Ciao.
ciao. Bye. Thank you, everyone. Mwah. Bye.